how to create courses that people love. I think that's something that we all want. We want to create courses and hear the feedback. Wow, this has really changed my life. Or, I'm a different person as a result of your course. Or I'm able to do things I would have never dreamed possible. What do you want people to say about your course? What does it sound like when somebody has gone through your course and absolutely loves it? Well, so many course advisors, I won't call them course creators, but people who are talking about transformation in general will poo-poo this idea of, love. For them, love is tough love. Or you might hear people who have this philosophy of no pain, no gain. But if you want to create a course that people love, you're going to need to create a course that gets results. And if you want love out, you often have to put love in. One of the very first steps you do in creating courses is to know your audience. And I recommend that you not only know your audience, but that you love your audience. Loving your audience means that you're willing to see the problem, you're willing to see that particular stuckness from their perspective, from their point of view. And think about some of the best teachers that ever existed. Sometimes we can learn from some pretty awful teachers or tough teachers. We might learn what not to do. We might learn despite those teachers. We might learn like they didn't do a very good job of teaching us, and so we ended up having to teach ourselves because we wanted it so badly. And that's a fantastic result for you, but I don't think that's who we want to be. Do you want to be the person who just yells at people? Or do you want to be the person who, sells a course but doesn't really show up and makes people, get it on their own? While there is great lessons for people who get it on their own, that's not the type of course that I recommend creating. I recommend creating a course where people take that course and they know that they are loved. So when I think about people who had the qualities that I want to see in myself when I create a course, I think about people like my school teacher. Now, I had an unusual situation in that I had the same school teacher for 8 years. Now, most people don't have that. I had, her name was Marguerite Osborne, we called her Sister O, and I had her from the time I was 10 until the time I was 18. So literally, from 5th grade until I graduated, I had the same teacher. And in those 8 years, she loved me very much. Now, love from Sister O didn't mean that I got my way. Love didn't mean that, I could turn in a crappy paper and get a great grade. No, she knew what I was capable of and believed that I could make it to the next level, whatever that next level was. Obviously, when I was 10, the next level was one thing, and when I was 18, it was totally different. She could tell when I was discouraged or when I was struggling, and she could tell when I was failing to give my best. So love doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, whatever you do is awesome. It can mean, I see what you've done and I really believe you can do better. In fact, some of the best advice that came out from research really was about the type of advice in which where teachers were given, and this was an experiment, teachers were given specific feedback to give to their students, and that particular feedback did much better than anything else that they had. And that feedback was, I'm giving you this feedback because I see that you can do better and I believe in you. I'm paraphrasing it, but it's along the lines of, I'm giving you feedback because I can see you able to accomplish more. Now, that's what love does. Here's the important part for when you are first starting your course. You're going to create kind of a description of who your audience is, why they want to be there, what they're struggling with. Well, when you love your audience, it means that you're willing to get down on their level and see the situation from their point of view and empathize with them. Now, empathy doesn't mean that you acknowledge that what they're going through has them stuck. It can mean that you see the thoughts and the behaviors and the belief systems and the feelings that they're struggling with, and then you help them see it differently. Now, when I was learning sales back at Radio Shack many, many years ago, I learned a technique called Feel, Felt, Found. And this particular approach to helping people overcome their objection to buying, say, a cell phone can be used in helping people overcome wherever they're stuck. And it goes like this. I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and then I found. So feel, felt, found. It doesn't have to use those words, but the formula is that I acknowledge, I see the perspective, I see the barriers that you're having. I have myself gone through similar barriers. I have myself struggled with similar thoughts and behaviors. I have myself struggled in similar ways. And then here's what I found. So you offer them a solution. You offer them something better. If you cannot empathize with your audience at the beginning of this, it's the stages of your course. If all you do is say, hey, in order to, lose weight, here's what you just eat this stuff and you work out, without addressing all of the things that cause the current behavior, your course is not going to work. It is not going to be a course that people love, because it dismisses their current situation. It dismisses their current struggles. So, all that to say, if you want to create a course that people love, you have to put love in. You have to put empathy in. You have to describe what are the barriers that your students are struggling with, and invite them to turn that obstacle into a platform. Invite them to see that as an opportunity to grow. It requires for us to believe in them and help them envision themselves behaving and acting and feeling and thinking differently. So this is a really deep topic, but I hope that before you create your course, that you really consider who your audience is and what they're struggling with, because you can't just provide a course that tells them all the things they ought to do if they are struggling with something, if there's a barrier in the way. If you're trying to teach somebody how to, do something in a word processor, or to, do a formula in Excel, you could probably skip all this part and just give them, the instructions they need to do. But if you have a course that is more transformational in nature, if you have a course that you want people to love because it helps them become a new person, because it helps them become who God created them to be, before you begin your course, this is the time in the discovery phase when you really dig deep to figure out who your audience is and love them enough to see the situation from their point of view and then help them move out of it. This is what, if you are looking at examples, this is what Jesus did. He was God. He made himself mankind. He saw it from our perspective. Now, truly, he saw it from our perspective, even when he was divine. But he took on humanity, and he got down at our level, and he said, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and I'm the instead of here's what I found, you found me. I have to alter it a little bit for Jesus there. But he saw our troubles, he saw our sorrows, he empathized with us, he got down at our level, he loved, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make us successful, to free us from the bondage that we were in. And that's what you can do in a course. You can put yourself in the shoes of the guide, into the shoes of somebody who is willing to move them from where they are to where they need to be. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful day. And not all of the topics are so deep, but when it talks about knowing your audience, we have to go deep. We really do.